bet you thought that the X movie was about, well, screwing. People in the movie were either screwing or getting screwed. However, what you didn't know is that the X movie is about apathy. More specifically, the dark side of the American dream. Like most horror films, it encompasses themes such as light versus dark. But like other great films, such as Psycho and The Shining, the X movie teeters into the gray area. Virtually all the characters in the film seem to be morally corrupt. But sadly, corruption seems to be the key ingredient when achieving the American dream. Come on, what business mogul hasn't screwed over someone to achieve massive wealth or success? What industry or institution hasn't created a league of mindless minions to support their mission and or cause? You can say that greed is both the motivator and the killer of the American dream. After all, it is a dog-eat-dog world, as some people would say. But can you really make it big without screwing your way to the top? You need to watch this video to find out.
Star!
Come on, I'm sorry. It's time to go.
No, I'm a star!
Come on.
When I first watched the X movie and saw Pearl, a hideous, wrinkled, ugly, washed up wench, the first thought that came to my mind was Succubus. Then when I saw Maxine, when she flaunted across the screen, my mind went there again. I thought that she was a succubus. Now, those of us who are into Greek mythology, we understand what a succubus is. It is a supernatural creature that preys on sleeping male victims. She can take the form of a beautiful and alluring woman. However, her true state is ghastly. She is ugly as sin and needs to suck the vital energy from unsuspecting victims to maintain her youth and her beauty. And when I first watched the movie X, I thought that that's what it was about. Then I thought about it even more, and I realized that Pearl and Maxine were succubi, but not in the literal sense, more figuratively. It seemed that the director and the writer were diving deep by explaining the need for people to suck the energy from others to maintain their own vitality and sustenance. After all, virtually every empire rose to fame by reaping, reaving, and pillaging their inferiors. Countries that are now considered superpowers use cheap and free labor to amass fortune and fame. And wars on a multi-continent level are a surefire way to spark a sputtering economy and catapult certain people or nationalities to the top. But the underlying narrative about the American dream is that you have to work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstrap, adhere to your P's and Q's, and everything will fall into place. However, as we get older and grow more and more frustrated by the limited opportunities, we begin to wonder if working 80 plus hours per week is even worth it. Maybe there is a shortcut, an easier way to attain the American dream without all the blood, sweat, and tears. We hear about the TikToker stars, the Instagram models and moguls, and the full-time teachers who quit their $55,000 a year job to make millions with an OnlyFans account. We think to ourselves, that could be us. After all, there are no gatekeepers. No one is stopping us from fulfilling our dreams. However, this is far from the truth. Now there are hundreds, if not millions of people dissuading you from attaining your dreams. And it's not just the trolls who spam your social media accounts. It's the time-worn institutions that have amassed tremendous power by brainwashing people to support their mission and cause. These institutions are ghastly afraid of losing members, because if they did that, then they would cease to exist. And my friends, this is the real meaning behind the X movie. It represents the ceaseless battle between zealots and deviants. Pearl and Howard are the zealots, and Maxine and her crew, well, they are the deviants. Let me explain.
And repent before it is too late. He may be a forgiving God, but every man has got his limits.
The first battle, the institution of marriage. The first rule of marriage is that you have to be shackled up with someone until the day you die. The second rule is that you can never stray or cheat on your beloved spouse. But Maxine breaks all of these rules. It seems that she was Wayne's mistress, encouraging him to leave his wife and beginning a new life with her. Bobby Lynn seems to be more of a free spirit. She seems to be anti-marriage and probably into the polyamorous lifestyle before it was even such a thing. She really doesn't care about being judged, unlike Maxine, who grows irritable when Lorraine, the church mouse, gives her judgmental stares. Bobby Lynn isn't looking to hit it big. All she wants is an easy, stress-free life where she can be healthy, happy, and free.
Roger that.
The fact of the truth of the matter is, we turn folks on. And that scares them.
And they can't look away neither.
After all, she didn't want to spend the best years of her life married or raising children she really didn't want, or worse, working a full-time job, raising children, and being a complete doormat to her husband. Bobby Lynn, like many successful courtesans before her, wanted to use her beauty and her charms to secure a great future for herself. Then, on the opposing side, there was Pearl and her husband Howard. These two represent all the pitfalls of marriage. The rigidness, the spark that dwindles and dies over the long years, the emptiness, the sorrow, and the longing of roads not traveled. Pearl and Howard are two people who are filled with regret.
What more do you want?
I just don't want him to like you is all.
Unfortunately, they no longer have youth or money on their sides to make significant changes. As a result of this, they've grown bitter and hopeless over the years. Like the trolls who spam the internet, they find joy tearing other people down.
It ain't my fault you didn't live the life you wanted. Now move out of the way, please. Move!
And they look to tear anyone down who tries to break free from the shackles that they themselves are chained to. The second battle, the institution of religion. Oh boy, religion plays a huge role in this movie. It's not just the preacher on the black and white television set belting about sin and its sexual deviance, or Lorraine, the curious church prude who wants to get it on with Jackson, or even the grocery store clerk who gives Wayne the side eye when he mentions. It's Maxine's guilt. Throughout the whole movie, we see Maxine assuaging her guilt through drug use. She continuously chants that,
I will not accept a life I do not deserve.
I do not deserve.
reminding herself that the pathway to fame is going to involve some casualties, of course. In the true dark American dream fashion, Maxine realizes that she is going to have to get down and dirty. This means that she is going to have to burn a couple of bridges to rise to the top. Pearl is the antithesis of Maxine. Or another way of putting it, Pearl is Maxine's worst nightmare. Maxine feels like if she doesn't break free from time-worn traditions, that she is going to end up like Pearl. Her zeal and ambition will rot inside of her, and she will be left envious and bitter. And much like Pearl, still horny for love and life, Pearl sees herself in Maxine, and Pearl is inspired by her presence. Maxine, on the other hand, is horrified of Pearl and sees her as more of a nemesis as opposed to a friend. The third battle, the institution of the corporations. Wayne is a struggling entrepreneur. He's deep in the red, looking to do anything, I mean anything, to crawl out of the hole he's dug himself into.
Hollywood, here we come.
No, ma'am. We don't need Hollywood. These type of pictures turn regular folks into stars. We're gonna do it all ourselves. Ain't that right, RJ?
Maxine is not only his fiancée, but his meal ticket to fame, fortune, and stardom. Sadly, Wayne can't seem to find his wings. He's a middle-aged dreamer with a litany of failed businesses trailing behind him. And it's not because Wayne isn't charming or smart or handsome. It's just that it's hard for small businessmen to make it in this country. With huge corporations taking bigger chunks out of the market share, it's hard for the little guy to survive, even off the crumbs.
Which is how I know that this new home video market is set to explode. Finally, people gonna get to see what they desire in the privacy of their own homes, free of judgment.
Sadly, art is not much different. RJ has big dreams of making it big in independent film, but we all know how things turned out for him. People don't want art, they want smut. Artists need to choose between eking out a living or selling their souls.
No, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but ain't none of them nice girls.
Let's take a look at Howard. His family farm is failing. Worse, he doesn't seem to have any children to carry on his legacy. All these characters are dying in some way, shape, or form. And it didn't take a corny jump scare to throw them over the edge. The last and final battle, the institution of police and military. Jackson, the Vietnam veteran with he's a cool cat. You think after putting his life on the line and serving his country, he would have better job prospects than being a porn star.
I did. 2 tours in South Vietnam. Had enough farmers trying to shoot me for one lifetime. Know what I mean, Pops?
Sadly, many black men have suffered the same fate. No, I'm not saying that black men are being forced into being porn stars. Yet they fought and died in many countless wars, only to be subjugated to a life of poverty, crime, and discrimination. And things didn't go too well either for Howard. Howard, having fought in both world wars, seemed beaten up, broken down, struggling to survive. It's almost embarrassing to see how America treats their veterans and their elderly. And I believe that it's every American's worst fear to work, fight, and struggle, only to die with nothing. Sadly, that is the fate of millions of people living on this glorious land. Now, the police in the X movie were used as a metaphor. After all, there are so few police, yet most of us adhere to the laws and regulations. Do we do it for the public good? No, we do it because we fear the repercussions, not just from our state and localities, but from other people. We don't want to be judged, shamed, or ostracized from our communities. So naturally, we fall in line. Sadly, we have to ask ourselves, can the American dream be attained if we don't go against the grain? Can we really fulfill our dreams if we're worried about what other people say and think about us? I think the American dream was always to have more fame, more fortune, more riches, more power. Sadly, I think that mindset has led us astray. Now we need to have less. Maybe we need to have a smaller house or a less fancier car. Maybe we should stop spending our way to happiness and focus more on having quality relationships.
What about you, Maxine? What's your American dream?
Maybe we should learn to be more compassionate by understanding how our actions adversely affect other people. And maybe then we wouldn't be seduced of the dark side of the American dream. So what do you guys think about the X movie? What do you guys think about the dark side of the American dream? Please sound off in the comments below.